Welcome to the channel DSCSS. This is Sayyeda Sabah Hashmi. Today, the topic is Basic Concepts in Criminology. This foundational section of criminology introduces the core definitional and conceptual frameworks necessary to understand the phenomena of crime, criminality, and criminal behavior. These concepts have evolved significantly through various schools of thought, with key authors contributing to their refinement and theoretical underpinning. So, today in our lecture, we will see what is crime, what is criminality, and what is criminal behavior. Crime. The understanding of crime has evolved from natural law perspectives to more positivist legalistic definitions. During mid to late 18th century, we had classical school, and then after late 19th century onward, we also have sociological perspectives. So, first of all, we will see classical school. Cesare Beccaria, in his writing entitled On Crimes and Punishment, and Jeremy Bentham, with his concept of utilitarianism, were instrumental in defining crime primarily as a violation of a social construct. They argued that crime is a rational choice and its definition should be precise, publicly known, and focused on deterring harmful acts through proportionate punishment. So, in this view, crime is a legal construct reflecting the will of a state for societal order. Later, sociologists expanded the definition beyond mere legal violation to include social harm. Edwin Sutherland, particularly with his work on white-collar crime in 1939, challenged the narrow legal definition by highlighting offences committed by persons of respectability and high social status in the course of their occupation, which, while often not prosecuted as traditional street crimes, cause significant social and economic harm. This broadened the scope of crime to include act of social injury. Then Howard Baker, in his writing Outsiders Studies in the Sociology of Deviance in 1963, contributed to the understanding of crime as a social construct through his labeling theory. He argued that deviance, and by extension crime, is not an inherent quality of an act but rather a consequence of the application of rules and sections to an offender by others. This perspective emphasizes that what is defined as a crime depends on who has the power to make and enforce rules. So, in general, we can say crime is an act of omission prohibited by law and punishable by the state. Now, criminality. What is criminality? Criminality refers to the underlying propensity or disposition to commit criminal acts. Its explanation has been a central focus of various criminological schools. Here we will see positive school and sociological theories. In late 19th century, Cesare Lombroso, the father of modern criminology, in his work like The Criminal Man in 1876, proposed a biological basis for criminality. He suggested that criminals were atavistic, meaning they possessed primitive physical characteristic, stigmata, indicating a reversion to an earlier evolutionary stage. While largely discredited in its original form, Lombroso's work initiated the scientific study of the individual offender and sought to identify the factors causing criminality. Example of stigmata identified by Lombroso are asymmetrical face, large jaws and cheekbones, abnormal ear size or shape, deviation in the head size or shape, flashy lip, shifty eyes, or unusual nose shape, excessive wrinkles, long arms, extra digits, or other bodily anomalies, low sensitivity to pain, cruelty, and a lack of moral sense, use of slang and tattoos. Now you would say slangs and tattoos are not physical stigmata, but he considered these cultural markers to be more prevalent among criminals and indicative of their primitive nature. After that, other prominent positivists like Enrico Ferri and Rafael Garofalo expanded on Lombroso's work. Ferri emphasized social, economic, and political factors in addition to biological ones, while Garofalo focused on moral anomalies and concepts like natural crime, attempting to identify inherent characteristics of criminal personalities. Ferry emphasized these key factors: physical factors like race, geography, climate, temperature; individual factors like age, sex, psychological state; social factors like population density, religion, family structure, education, economic condition, political organization, and customs. While Garofalo categorized of criminal on the basis on deficiencies in the moral sentiments, like murderers are lacking altruism and pity, thieves lacking honesty. So you can see this positive school is mostly about biological factors, right? Then we see sociological theories in 20th century like Edwin Sutherland with differential association theory argued criminality is learned through social interaction, particularly within intimate personal group. This theory shifted the focus from individual pathology to social learning processes, arguing that individuals become criminal because they associate with those who hold definition favorable to law violation and are exposed to techniques from committing crimes. Then Robert K. Merton, with his strain theory, suggested that criminality arises from a disjuncture between culturally prescribed goals and the legitimate means available to perceive them. This anomy or normlessness can push individuals toward deviant and thus criminal adaptation. So these are the theories which needs to be explained in details, but I will explain these theories in some other lecture. But now you have understood that in positive schools, the criminality means tendency to commit crime is linked with biological factors, and in sociological theories, it is linked with social factors. Now, would you tell me what is criminal behavior? This concept focuses on the actual acts performed by individuals that are defined as criminal, often delving into the motivation, patterns, and the context of such acts. In this section, again, we will see two things: Chicago School, which focus on ecological theories, and second, rational choice theory. Park and Burgess, through their study of urban areas in Chicago in the 1920s, laid the groundwork for understanding criminal behavior as influenced by social disorganization. Their concentric zone model showed how certain areas of the city, for example the zone of transition, exhibited higher rates of social problems, including crime due to rapid population turnover, poverty, and weakened social institutions. If we take example from Pakistan, Pakistan has experienced massive rural to urban migration leading to the rapid growth of informal settlement, Kachi Abadi, slum areas in major cities like Karachi, Lahore and Faisalabad. These areas often exhibit poverty and unemployment, population turnover, weakened social institutions. So then Shaw and Mackay further developed the social disorganization theory in work like juvenile delinquency and urban areas. They empirically demonstrated that rates of juvenile delinquency remain stable in specific ecological areas over decades, regardless of the ethnic composition of the population, linking criminal behavior to neighborhood characteristics rather than inherent group traits. Areas affected by conflict or close to international borders, like if we see in Pakistan, Balochistan, often exhibit conditions akin to social disorganization due to displacement and migration, weakened state authority and law enforcement, economic disruption, informal justice system. I am giving you example from Pakistan so you can understand it in local context. Now you have understood that Chicago School is talking about ecological factors, that they are living in such area that affected them and made them criminal. But then we see rational choice theory in 1980s. Cornish and Clark conceptualized criminal behavior as a rational decision making process. They argue that criminal behavior is a result of conscious, rational decision making process where offenders weigh the potential benefits against the perceived costs and risks of committing a crime. This perspective focuses on the decision making process leading to the act itself. If we see example from Pakistan, mobile snatching in Karachi is a prime example where rational choice elements are evident because they perceived low risk, they perceived high reward, and they choose target who appear vulnerable. This reflects a calculation of the ease of the committing the crime. So now you understand that ecological theories in Chicago School focus on ecological factors like neighborhood. Like you can see Burgess model, which I will explain in some other lecture, but you can see the model in which zone of transition has poverty, residential turnover, ethnic heterogeneity, which leads towards social disorganization, and at a individual level, it weak controls, it promotes criminal behavior, and at a neighborhood level, it directly increase crime rate. While a rational choice theory is focusing on individual factor, that if a criminal perceive that there is a low risk and high reward, then he will commit a crime. So now you understand what is criminal behavior, the actual acts or omission that violates criminal law. A person will violate criminal law according to rational choice theory if he perceives low risk and high reward, and according to Chicago School, he will violate criminal law if his neighborhood has social disorganization. Now, in comment section, I expect you to summarize whatever I have taught you in this lecture. By doing that, you would be clear how much you have understood and which point you need to understand more. And then you can tell me to make a separate video for that specific point. And please like, share, and subscribe to sustain my motivation and increase the reach of this video. Thank you.